Okay, it looks like we're recording. Well, this is Mayor Kathy Moore, and I have with me here today Dr. Sam Segal, and we are going to talk about the importance of wearing masks in town. So, Dr. Segal, first, tell me just a little bit, how did you get interested in this masks for the public kind of effort?
Yeah, so my first short, quick biography is that I grew up in Connecticut, and my mother was a public health dean of public health there. So I've always been interested in public health, and so I started to look at the data coming out from Asia, imperfect as it is, and from other places that were wearing masks and seeing their curve flatten. And when our medical health officer came out with that recommendation, I was really happy about it. I had been trying to sort of talk about it before that happened.
Yeah, you did a great job of that. I saw a number of things that you had done on Facebook and some emails around. And I thought, yeah, okay, she's getting out ahead of the curve there with it. So I think I want to thank you for that from the community. But tell me a little bit more about what's happening with Masks for All, because the divisions of family practice has gotten involved too.
Correct. So the goal of Masks for All is to look at how to get people in our community wearing masks and comfortable wearing masks. It's not a natural thing for the Western community, whereas in Asia it has been quite common. They've dealt with numerous pandemics, from the first SARS to swine flus. So I brought it to the attention of divisions and was able to leverage the support of our community physicians group to liaison and to discuss with Rotary and other groups that are making masks in our areas. And now that we have the mandate from the medical health officer and CDC, we can proceed. And the goal is to get people comfortable wearing masks. The more people, the better. I've heard it said lately that people should do what they're comfortable with. And the point of Masks for All really is to protect other people, because there is good evidence in Asia. In fact, someone sent me an email today about her grandfather who won the Nobel Prize, and he was responsible for mask promotion in the 1920s in China. So it's not a new concept. And although we don't have data specific to COVID, and everyone's like, well, how do we know? It's just that we don't know, but we can look at history and other outbreaks and presume that we're helping each other.
So what were some of the big concerns that I know initially people were like, no, we don't want people wearing masks in public because they were concerned about, inventory issues or effectiveness issues.
Sure.
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, it's a big question, because there's a lot we still don't know and we're learning. But the main issue is that the messaging, had to catch up with how we're understanding how this disease passes from person to person. So we now know we have an R naught of about 2.4, 2.5, and it's probably spread more heavily in dense areas, which gives us a bit of a false sense of security here because we're not so dense. But the point is once it gets into the community, it can spread quite rapidly. So by doing this now, we have an effort to reduce it and stop any potential spread, and thereby open our economy, get back to a new normal, as we say. So the more we can do, the earlier, I think, the better off we are. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think it does. I know there had been concern about people who would wear masks in public. They might be taking the masks away from frontline healthcare workers who need them more in a medical setting. But I think now it's been pretty clear through everything we've been seeing is that we're talking about people having homemade masks with fabric from home, not the kind of standard of masks that would be purchased and would be taking it from frontline health workers. So I think that was one of the concerns, at least one of the concerns that I heard. It was one of the reasons that Masks for All didn't really get rolled out as soon as it might have, because the concern was about inventory, not about really whether it was beneficial or not, but we didn't want to be taking supplies from people in medical settings. But that seems to be kind of addressed now with this sort of approach.
Yeah, Kathy, and I think it's also another interesting concern, because we know that the surgical and proper masks are probably more effective, and if we're going to talk about transparency, we should put that out there, but we need to make it clear that we cannot recommend that at this time, because we do not have enough of a supply chain.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that we've talked about that I think is really, really important is this is an additive thing. This doesn't mean people don't social distance and still stay at home and still wash their hands. I mean, this is one thing on addition to those other measures to keep ourselves all safe. And that's really important. You've stressed that a couple of times.
Yeah, that's correct. And that goes back to your prior question, which is what else do we need to do and what is the messaging? And it has to be additive. So, and that's the behavioral danger. And I think that was also some of the delay in the recommendation. If we tell people they can wear masks, then maybe they all congregate, and we know that masks are still imperfect. I like to talk about it as a layer of Swiss cheese. So sliced Swiss cheese. So every layer has some holes, but the more layers you put on, you get a block of cheese. So hopefully the COVID doesn't come through. So
that's great. I like that. I like that. So in terms of masks for all, like I know I'm involved in this because I'm going to be running the list of people who want to volunteer to be to sew the masks, right? So people can get in touch with me at mayor@roslyn.ca to give me their name if they're interested in helping in the project, or people who want masks can also get in touch. And already, even just starting as informally as we have, I've already matched up some mask wearers with mask makers. So it's been pretty good. But the other thing that's really important to point out, and you and I talked about this the other day too, was the more protection we get in our community, the faster we're going to be able to open up our community. So if everybody wears the mask, that's just one more little step in the direction of us being able to get back to normal life. And I think that's really important to share too.
absolutely. And I appreciate all your leadership in this. It's fantastic. I see Roslyn taking the lead in so many things that benefit our environment and benefit our communities, whether it's from dealing with plastics and those issues and recycling to this. So I think it's fantastic that we can take a lead here in our small town. And I think we'll see we won't know, we'll see over the next year how rolling out economies goes, because it's going to be the dance. And some economies where we've been able to control the disease are probably going to be able to function sooner than others. So I think it's really important to emphasize to people that this is not, sort of what they call a hard-handed government is telling you to do this. This is probably in everyone's best interest to go back to the best function that we can as a community and society.
Yeah, for sure. We have to be smart. We have to be safe, and we have to come out strong. I mean, that's sort of the attitude that the resort municipality communities are taking. There's 14 of us that are all involved in tourism as well as everything else, but that's the approach we're taking, because of course we want our visitors to come back, but we can't have people come back until we know that our community is safe and that visitors will be safe and all that. So this is one more step in that direction. So Dr. Segal, would you like to say anything else?
No, I would just like to thank you, Kathy, for your stewardship of our community and for all that you're doing to look after our health, and it's not just our physical health, it's our economic health, it's our socialization, it's taking care of our neighbors, and I really appreciate that.
Oh, well, thank you. And thanks back to you for being one of our medical professionals, all the frontline people, the doctors, nurses, and everybody from those people to, anyone you see out there, first responders, everybody's doing an amazing job. And the citizens of Roslyn are doing an amazing job too, because we really have been good, following the rules as best we all can. And
yeah,
that's what we need to do. So thank you so much for your time. And we'll be talking more about masks for all.
Yeah, sounds great. Take care. Have a good day. Bye for now. Hello, Mayor Moore, can you expand on how the community can become involved in helping this initiative?
Yeah, sure. There's a number of ways. Actually, we've got some links to patterns that people can use to make masks for themselves, and also that they can make masks for others. And those are going to be, I'll have them on my Facebook page. We've got anybody that anyone that emails me, I can send that link out. We're putting out a press release, actually from the Division of Family Practices, putting out a press release, has all that information in it too, which is really great. And then I will keep a list of people who want to be involved, and we match them up with people who need masks. So that's going to be pretty cool.
That's fantastic. And can you tell me about the involvement of our local civic groups like Rotary?
Oh yeah, Rotary has been fantastic. They've really jumped in both feet, right? It's great. They're such a great group. They're doing things already, like delivering groceries and things for seniors and people that have a hard time getting out, maybe because they're self-isolating or whatever. So they've already been doing that kind of thing. But for this initiative, they're going to be our distribution channel. So if we find that, we want to have a bunch of masks made and then distribute them at Ferraro's, they'll pick up the masks from whoever's made them and take them to Ferraro's. So the greeter at Ferraro's can then hand them to people as they come in. Same thing for Alpine Drug. They want to have a bunch of masks there, and we'll be bringing more to them. And then if there's people that need masks, delivered to them, Rotary is offered to do that as well. So that's really good. Plus, they've set up a site where people can donate, and I've got it. It's at RoslinRotary.org/donate. And that's way people can put some funds in if they like, because one of the things we're offering for people who sew for our little informal group here is that we'd be able to provide them supplies. We'd be able to provide them with thread and fabric and elastic, that kind of thing if people need that. So far, a lot of the people that are working are providing their own supplies, and that's great too. But it's great for people who maybe don't have the supplies to have a way to get them. So we're collecting donations. We don't anticipate needing a lot at this point, but it's really nice that Rotary is there for us to make that happen.
That's fantastic. And as Roslyn takes a lead, do you see any role for other municipalities? I know that our group, the KBPA, has put out a toolkit directed to municipalities, and we're going to pilot this here first, but I'm just interested in your thoughts on that.
Oh yeah, I think it's a great idea. I mean, we started talking about that, and the initial idea was roll it out, kind of go big or go home. But then we decided probably better to start in Roslyn. But I have a lot of connections with mayors all through the Basin area, everywhere that the Division of Family Practice operates. I know all those mayors and all the resort municipality mayors and all the mayors along Highway 3. So once we see how it works here, we would roll it out to other groups, and it would take a community champion, someone to be the organizer. It would take groups like Rotary, of which there are all over the province, right? And so we're hoping that we'll get a lot of municipalities to jump on this. I mean, this isn't a City of Roslyn initiative. I mean, I'm doing this more just in my role as me, as opposed to my role as mayor. But because I have those connections, it's easy to spread the project and get it that a lot of people can pick it up. And once it's packaged, in the way with the toolkit and the patterns for people to use and how they can set it up, then it's easy. Somebody else can just replicate it. So that's what we're hoping for.
That's great. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mayor Moore.
Yep. And hey, one more thing, and this is something that you had brought up in another conversation we had, when everyone thanks the frontline workers and the medical care people and all, the thing that everybody can do the most to help those people is to follow the rules of our provincial health officer. That's the key thing. And I think that's really important for everyone to keep thinking about. This won't last forever. Things will change. But for now, we need to do as we're told, by the people who know best, and those are our medical professionals. So. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thank you for bringing that to the forefront. I appreciate your talk today.
All right. Take care.
Have a great day. Bye.